Hi everyone, just before the video starts, I need to give a huge shout out to Josue's Exotics. Check him out, there's a link in the description. Amazing channel, and honestly I think you should check him out, but after this video. Watch all of this video first. Hi everyone, welcome back to Toby's Exotics. Again, it's been ages since I did a video like this, and not a video like Leopard Gecko Enjoys a Snack, which recently, just as of now, got 2,000 views, and I cannot be more thankful for that. So thank you guys very, very much. But we're finally here. I'm going to put a lot of effort into this video. Hopefully the lighting's a little bit better for one. And definitely this video is going to be action-packed. Really, it's going to help you hopefully. And today's video is going to be top 5 best small arboreal lizards, a bit like this guy, he's a Crested Gecko, to keep as pets. And to be honest, I think we're just going to get straight into it with number 5. Alright, so number 5, we're just going to get straight into it, the Crested Gecko. The only reason why Crested Geckos are so away from number 1, why they're number 5, is because everyone has them, and they can be quite boring, I suppose, but honestly they're brilliant. I love them so much. And this guy, I would class him as my best friend because he just goes everywhere with me. And I would really recommend them, definitely as first time reptiles. If you would like a reptile, say you prefer a lizard, you're definitely going to go for the main lizards, which are the bearded dragons, the leopard geckos, and the crested geckos, or the corn snakes and that kind of thing. That's going to be your basic beginners, and for good reason why the crested gecko is up there, because they make excellent pets. Even though I have a little bit more experience, I still love this guy, and even if you have a good few reptiles, I would still recommend that you get Cresty, because they just make brilliant pets. The one downside to them is that they can drop this tail, and it will never grow back, and that can be quite a stressful situation. I say that as he drops his tail right now, because they are that sensitive. They will drop their tail for literally no reason. For example, a heat spike. For example, if you go out of schedule for a bit, it's not going to affect them too much, but I know of someone's Cresty who literally dropped their tail because they went into a new tank for half an hour. That was not too long ago. Obviously, a big change into a new tank could hurt the gecko's mental well-being. But yeah, these guys make excellent pets. I would highly recommend them. They only need, they actually need a really small tank. You're kind of looking at an Exoterra, 60 by 45 by 45 centimeter, and as babies you're looking at the 45 centimeters. So I would highly recommend Crested Gecko. They're very cheap, they're easy to afford, you can find them anywhere. On to number 4. Okay, so number 4, this may come as a surprise to some of you, and that is the green Anole. And yet again, they are super easy to come by, but they are absolutely fascinating. This guy is for perfect handling, but the Anole is not. You do not want to handle the Anole really all that much, because they can disappear anywhere. They're really small. I'll show some footage of the Anole that I have just in there. My friend got 2 Anoles. He managed to find them captive farmed, which was actually a success because most of them were wild caught. And one of them started bullying because unfortunately he got 2 males accidentally. So I currently have one just in a tank right there. They're going to be in a tank that's about 30 by 30 by 45, so basically the baby size of the Crested Gecko. And genuinely, they are so easy to look after, it's quite funny, but you've got to get certain areas precise. And that is, for example, providing them with UVB. Anoles really need UVB. They're daytime baskers. They've taken over Florida. They're now invasive to Florida, and that's because Florida is warm, it's UVB rich. Florida is the perfect climate. So if you look at the sort of Floridian weather and kind of replicate that, I find that pretty easy to do within the tank. Lots of dense foliage and a sort of ladder, if you will, of perches so that you can decide how warm he gets, because up above you will need a basking spot. I personally provide a lamp that is 25 watts and just provide a platform that is quite close so that you can still heat up. He doesn't usually spend all of his time there. He usually spends quite a lot of his time in amongst the foliage, but he will come out and bask. But as I say, I must emphasise, if you get a green Anole, they are super cheap. You can find them anywhere, but you need to provide it with UVB. Just because the animal's cheap doesn't mean the setup is. Okay, and number 3, we're going to get a little bit more advanced now, and that is another, we're into another New Caledonian species like the Crested Gecko, and that is the Leachianus gecko. And Leachianus, I love Leachianus geckos, they are absolutely brilliant. And I really want to have one day, but unfortunately, you're looking of upwards to 400 to 600 pounds for one individual. And yes, that will be within my budget soon enough, but currently, I want to spend it on different animals, which we will soon have a new arrival coming at Christmas. But I'll let you guys hint that and guess that in the comments. So it's to add on to my collection, but anyway, move on. The Leachianus gecko is the largest gecko in the planet, and they are known for having a bit of a sassy, grumpy mood. But you can get odd ones that are that are really tame, or you can get strange ones that are super angry. You're more likely to find super angry ones. But I realise now that Leachianus are now coming further into captivity. There are more breeding programs going on because more people are recognising that they are brilliant to keep. For me, I personally think that the Leachianus should be given a very large enclosure. They do like to hide. If you look at the Leachianus, it has perfect patterning and camouflage to blend into logs. So definitely provide a lot of logs, a lot of cork bark tubes, cork bark rounds, that kind of thing. I think that a Leachianus should definitely get at least 45, 90, something like that, centimetres, because they really don't, in my opinion, they're one of these reptiles that could well have just been left in the wild, although they do adjust pretty well to captivity, but definitely something that you don't want to get as your first reptile. They can get fairly big, they can get a decent size. The largest is something crazy like, I think it's 50 centimetres, something like that. It's bonkers, including the tail. So some of them, it depends of the locale of Leachy, and that's basically what island of New Caledonia they come from. You can get some smaller and some larger, but definitely Leachies, they make excellent pets, although they're not necessarily for the beginner. On to number 2. Okay, and on to number 2, and I think I'm going to get a lot of hate for number 2 because a lot of people don't think they're worth the number 2 spot, and that is chameleons as a whole. That's, for example, veiled chameleons or panther chameleons are your main ones, although panther chameleons especially need extremely specific care, and I highly recommend, if you're wanting to get one, you at least get a good bit of experience with reptiles first. I would not get one as a first pet, and even if you're looking into getting one, if you have quite a lot of reptiles, quite a lot of experience, I still think you should do a ton of research, and that's months and months and months of research, because the chameleon does not deserve to be in captivity if it isn't done right, if it isn't cared for correctly. My friend got one as his second reptile, I think, and he told me in person that he regrets getting one because he went to a pet shop and the pet shop didn't give him the correct setup for it. They didn't provide any UVB within the chameleon kit for him, and he didn't know any better. So I would highly recommend you do a ton of research. They're also rather expensive, and that's not just to buy. For example, their setup, that over there is a mesh enclosure stacked with another mesh enclosure on top, with a hole through the bottom of the top one, so that it makes one large enclosure. That is the suitable size for a chameleon, and I'm not planning on getting a chameleon. I may well get a chameleon. I've just got that lying around. So that's quite expensive. That's worth about £200 brand new anyway. So definitely, if you want to get a chameleon, do a ton of research, because if you don't do enough research, then it could well just go in the really bad direction. Okay, on to number 1. And number one was really quite hard for me to make a decision on, and I think a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me, but I love Toki Geckos. And they probably don't deserve number 1, to be brutally honest, but I love them. I just love them so much. So I've put them on to number 1 is the Toki Gekko. Toki Geckos, I suppose you could probably have one as your first reptile, or I don't really see who would though, because you can't really handle them. But look at their colours, they are absolutely stunning. I'm sure I'm showing you some pictures just now. Absolutely stunning animals, and I'm really interested in getting one, and that's highly likely what's going to go into here is a Toki Gekko. Toki Geckos, they are, I think their class is the 2nd largest gecko in the world. They can get pretty big. Most of them, unfortunately, are wild caught, so you might want to look closer into captive breeding, because they're actually getting more captive breeding programs into especially the UK now. America's been doing it for a wee while now. Because they really do make great pets, and a lot of people are now realising that. You will need to provide them with at least UVB and a heat mat and heat lamp, because it's a controversial subject really, and I always say go safe. Definitely go safe, and in my opinion I would always provide UVB for an animal, unless it's, say, a Crested Gecko who his tank is sitting on top of something that gets UVB, which is the Anole's tank. So he is still getting a little bit UVB. I would highly recommend with any animal that you provide UVB, especially with Toki Geckos, because they're on that controversial side. My friend got a Toki Gekko not too long ago, not the same friend as the Anoles. She got a baby, and it's already bitten her, and it's already torn up the skin. So they're definitely a display animal and looking only. Unless you want to get ripped up, because if you do want to get your hands all ripped up, then you will probably be able to tame it down pretty well. I know, for example, Reptiliatus, he has managed to train his gecko not to be handleable, but to come out and interact, because they are genuinely really smart. But definitely, I love Toki Geckos, and I think they deserve number 1. So that pretty much ends our video on top 5 best small arboreal lizards. Please do remember this is my opinion and my opinion only. I know that I will probably get people who disagree, because that's human nature, everyone has their own opinions. Before you go, please do check out that this is a great channel, Josue's Exotics. I don't think he gets enough views for what he's worth. He's a really, really good channel, really great guy. Definitely check him out. I'll leave a link in the description. And whilst you're down there, you may as well leave a like and subscribe if you're not, because turn on notifications, because we're going to get some epic videos coming your way. And also, thank you so much for the 2.2k as of now views on the Leopard Gecko Enjoys a Snack. If you're interested in Enjoys a Snack series, there is a playlist down below where you can see lots of my animals enjoying a snack. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, because I certainly enjoyed making it. From now, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Paco. Peace.